get everybody going today. Top of the day, beautiful people. Top of the day. That's why we Shayla. That's why we're great rising, sis. Great rising. Okay. All right, y'all. Tiffany. Sawubona. Sawubona, yeah. All right, beautiful people. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. It is May the 7th, 2021. Day 147 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, also known as the Book of Instruction, wrongly known as the Old Testament. It's a misnomer. They should fix it. Ain't nothing old about the testament of our Father, Yahuwah. Shalom, Mom. Shalom. Right? Okay, today we are reading 1 Chronicles 23, 24, and 25, and then we'll hop over to Fossilized Customs and pick up where we left off at yesterday on page 39. Yep. Page 39. Levon, blessings. All right, beautiful people. So let's go ahead and get started with the Shema. All right. Y'all know the Shema is found in Deuteronomy chapter 6. Remember, read the full chapter for the full context, right? And you will see the other blessings that Yahuwah said that he would bestow upon his people. Uncle Nathaniel, peaceful greetings. Hear, therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily, as Yahuwah, the God of our fathers, has promised us, in the land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, our God, he is one God, and you shall love Yahuwah you shall love Yahuwah, your God, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them upon the post of your house and on your gates. And Yahuwah commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear Yahuwah our God for our good always, that he might preserve us alive as it is at this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all the commandments before Yahuwah as he has commanded us. Trainer Betwabu, Christy Betwabu. Okay, beautiful people. So let's hop right on over here to our reading today, which is found in 1 Chronicles chapter 29. All right, beautiful people. Then King David turned to the entire assembly and said, my son Solomon, whom Yahuwah has clearly chosen as the next king of Israel, is still young and inexperienced. The work ahead of him is enormous, for the temple he will build is not for mere mortals. It is for Yahuwah himself. Use every resource at my command. I have gathered as much as I could for the building of Yahuwah. Now there is enough gold, silver, bronze, iron, and wood, as well as great quantities of onyx and other precious stones, costly jewels, and all kinds of fine stone and marble. And now, because of my devotion to the temple of my God, I am giving all of my own private treasures of gold and silver to help in the construction. This is in addition to the building materials I have already collected for his holy temple. I am donating more than 112 tons of gold from Ophir, 262 tons of refined silver to be used for overlaying the walls of the building, and for other gold and silver work to be done by the craftsmen. Now then, who will follow my example and give offerings to Yahuwah today? Then the family leaders, the leaders of the tribes of Israel, the generals and the captains of the army, the king's administrative officers, all gave willingly. For the construction of the temple of Yahuwah, they gave about 188 tons of gold, 10,000 gold coins, 375 tons of silver, 675 tons of bronze, and 3,750 tons of iron. They contributed numerous precious stones, which were deposited into the treasury of the house of Yahuwah under the care of Jahiel, a descendant of Gershon. The people rejoiced over the offerings, for they had freely given and wholeheartedly to Yahuwah, and King David was filled with joy. Then David praised Yahuwah in the presence of the whole assembly. O Yahuwah, the God of our ancestor Israel, may you be praised forever and ever. Yours, O Yah, is the greatness, the power, the glory, the victory, and the majesty. Everything in the heavens and on earth is yours. O Yah, excuse me, O Yah, this is your kingdom. We adore you as the one who is over all things. Wealth and honor come from you alone, for you rule over everything. Power and might are in your hand, and at your discretion people are made great and give strength. O Yahuwah, our God, we thank you and praise your glorious name. But who am I, and who are my people, that we could give anything to you? Everything we have has come from you, and we only give you what you first gave us. Amen. Right? Hallelujah. We are here only for a moment, visitors and strangers in the land, as our ancestors were before us. Our days on earth are like a passing shadow, gone. I hear that. Sorry, y'all. I didn't put it down tight enough. It just popped out. Sorry. Our days on earth are like a passing shadow, gone so soon without a trace. O Yahuwah, our God, even this material we have gathered to build a temple to honor your holy name comes from you. It all belongs to you. I know, O Yah, that you examine our hearts and rejoice when you find integrity there. You know I have done all this with good motives, and I have watched your people offer their gifts willingly and joyously. O Yahuwah, the God of our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, make your people always want to obey you. See to it that their love for you never changes. Give my son Solomon the wholehearted desire to obey all your commands, laws, and decrees, and to do everything necessary to build this temple for which I have made these preparations. Then David said to the whole assembly, give praise to Yahuwah your God. And the entire assembly praised Yahuwah, the God of their ancestors, and bowed low and knelt before Yahuwah and the king. The next day, they bore 1,000 bulls, 1,000 rams, 1,000 male lambs as burnt offerings to Yahuwah. They also brought liquid offerings and many other sacrifices on behalf of all Israel. They feasted and drank in Yahuwah's presence with great joy that day. And again, they crowned David's son Solomon as their new king. They anointed him before Yahuwah as their leader and anointed Zadok as priest. So Solomon took the throne of Yahuwah in place of his father David, and he succeeded in everything, and all Israel obeyed him. All the officials, the warriors, and the sons of King David pledged their loyalty to King Solomon. And Yahuwah exalted Solomon in the sight of all of Israel, and he gave Solomon greater royal splendor than any king in Israel before him. So David, the son of Jesse, reigned over all of Israel. He reigned over Israel for 40 years, 7 of them in Hebron and 33 in Jerusalem. He died at a ripe old age, having enjoyed long life, wealth, and honor. Then his son Solomon ruled in his place. All the events of King David's reign, from the beginning to end, are written in the record of Samuel the seer, the record of Nathan the prophet, and the record of Gad the seer. These accounts include the mighty deeds of his reign and everything that happened to him and to Israel and to all the surrounding kingdoms. And might I add here, if anyone has come across these 3 books, please let a sister know. The record of Samuel the seer, the record of Nathan the prophet, and the record of Gad the seer. I have been looking for them, but I found one for Gad, but the other two, I could not find. But I want to, well, it's called Gad the Seer, not the Record of Gad the Seer, but I'm thinking it's the same thing. But just in case there is one called which I don't have, like this says, the Record of Gad the Seer, I would like to take a look at that and read it. All right. Second Chronicles. What the world? Something here. I just go all the way back to chapter 1. Hold on, y'all. Let me fix this. They jump from 23 to chapter 21. Hold on. Hold up. I read the whole wrong chapter, y'all. I think I probably said it right, First Chronicles 29. But that's why I jumped to Second Chronicles chapter 1, because I was reading the wrong chapter. Ain't nobody catch me, y'all. Ain't nobody catch me. Let's go back. Everybody's getting ready for work. Right. Okay, hold on. Let me go back. I gotta go back. Okay. The chapter number, let me know. I was off track. Okay, so y'all, we should have read First Chronicles 23. Josiah, shalom. Okay, First Chronicles chapter 23. When David was an old man, he appointed his son Solomon to be king over Israel. David summoned all the leaders of Israel together with the priests and Levites. All the Levites who were 30 years old or older were counted, and the total came to 38,000. Then David said, from all the Levites, 24,000 will supervise the work at the temple of Yahuwah. Another 6,000 will serve as officials and judges. Another 4,000 will work as gatekeepers, and 4,000 will praise Yahuwah with the musical instruments I have made. Then David divided the Levites into divisions named after the clans descended from the 3 sons of Levi, Gershom, Kohath, and Merari. The Gershonite family units were defined by their lines of descent from Libni and Shimei, the sons of Gershom. 3 of the descendants of Libni were Jahiel, the family leader, Zetham, and Joel. These were the leaders of the family of Libni. 3 of the descendants of Shimei were Shelimoth, Haziel, and Haran. 4 other descendants of Shimei were Jahath, Ziza, Jehush, and Bariah. Jahath was the family leader, and Ziza was next. Jehush and Bariah were counted as a single family because neither had many sons. 4 of the descendants of Kohath were Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. The sons of Aram were Aaron and Moses. Aaron and his descendants were set apart to dedicate the most holy things, to offer sacrifices in Yahuwah's presence, to serve Yahuwah, and to pronounce blessings in his name forever. Right? We only send blessings and pronounce blessing in Yahuwah's name alone. Joanne, shalom. As for Moses, the man of Yah, his sons were included with the tribe of Levi. The sons of Moses were Gershom and Eleazar. The descendants of Gershom included Shebuel, the family leader. Eleazar had only one son, Rehabiah, the family leader. Rehabiah had numerous descendants. The descendants of Izhar included Shelimoth, the family leader. The descendants of Hebron included Jeriah, the family leader, Amariah the second, Jahaziel the third, and Jechimim the fourth. The descendants of Uzziel included Micah, the family leader, and Ishiah the second. The descendants of Merari included Mali and Mushi. The sons of Mali were Eleazar and Kish. Eleazar died with no sons, only daughters. His daughters married their cousins, the sons of Kish. 3 of the descendants of Mushi were Mali, Eder, and Jerimoth. These were the descendants of Levi by clans, the leaders of their family groups, registered carefully by name. Each had to be 20 years old or older to qualify for service in the house of Yahuwah. For David said, Yahuwah, the God of Israel, has given us peace, and he will always live in Jerusalem. Now the Levites will no longer need to carry the tabernacle and its furnishings from place to place. In accordance with David's final instructions, all the Levites 20 years old or older were registered for service. The work of the Levites was to assist the priests, the descendants of Aaron, as they served at the house of Yahuwah. They also took care of the courtyards and side rooms, helped perform the ceremonies of purification, and served in many other ways in the house of Yahuwah. They were in charge of the sacred bread that was set out on the table, the choice flour for the grain offerings, the wafers made without yeast, the cakes cooked in olive oil, and other mixed breads. They were also responsible to check all the weights and measures. And each morning and evening, they stood before Yahuwah to sing songs of thanks and praise to him. They assisted with burnt offerings that were presented to Yahuwah on Sabbath days, at new moon celebrations, and at the appointed festivals. The required number of Levites served in Yahuwah's presence at all times, following all the procedures they had been given. And so, under the supervision of the priests, the Levites watched over the tabernacle and the temple and faithfully carried out their duties of service at the house of Yahuwah. 1 Chronicles chapter 24, the duties of the priests. This is how Aaron's descendants, the priests, were divided into groups for service. The sons of Aaron were Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. But Nadab and Abihu died before their father, and they had no sons. Only Eleazar and Ithamar were left to carry on as priests. Remember, y'all remember how Nadab and Abihu died, right? Remember, they offered strange fire. Remember, they was down at the foot of Mount Sinai, and they was rejoicing, right, for the Torah that Yahuwah had given to them, and he had just set them all in their place and telling them what their duties were to be when they served as priests. New Jeru, peace, family. But what happened was they got a little bit too excited and they forgot protocol, and they went in dancing before Yahuwah, and Yahuwah called it strange fire because they didn't do it in the way he instructed them to do, and they died immediately, right? I know y'all remember that story because Aaron, he was a little upset, but he said, "Yeah, I trust you," right? And he didn't complain that his sons had died, although as we was reading more to the story, we could clearly tell Aaron was completely bothered by it, right? And he didn't, at this point, he said, if you kill my sons whom you've ordained as priests, like, we don't really stand a chance for real. And what if we mess up and do what's wrong? And Yahuwah had to tell him, he said, listen, he said, your sons knew, they understood what the job required, but they weren't thinking, and they went ahead and did. They knew they weren't supposed to do it, but it was almost like they were, not that they were testing the waters, but sometimes you know how you get caught up into something, you don't think like, oh shoot, you know, it looked like it was one of the moments, right? And Yahuwah said, would you, he said, now, based on what they did, he said, by my law, he said, I should have stricken them both with leprosy and exiled them from the midst of my people. He said, there they would have died in agony and pain as their bodies began to decompose. He said, now, would you, he said, death was imminent for these two sons of yours. Now, would you have wanted to watch your sons die, being excommunicated, where you couldn't even go to them and see them and watch them die in horror and everybody looking at them like unclean, unclean? Would you have wanted to see that? Or have me take them like I did instantly? And it tells us that Yahuwah, when he struck them dead, he actually immediately just took their spirits from their body. The fire of Yah came down and it singed both of them right through their nostrils and pulled their spirit out of their body, and they fell to the ground instantly. But Yahuwah also brought up the point. He said, me taking them this way was way better than me actually striking them with leprosy. And he said, that was my grace and my favor for you, so you wouldn't have to see your sons die in that fashion. He said, in the way that I took them, not one hair on their body was singed. He said, I took their spirit and I left their bodies in perfect order, right? They weren't burnt, they weren't decomposed, everything was in its proper place. He just took their spirits like, come on, sons, you gotta go, right? He deals with the leaders, those he put in charge over his people. They have to follow his instructions to the T. Why? Because they would lead all of us astray. So that's why Yahuwah deals with his leaders immediately. He'll give you some grace, but there are certain things that he cannot let go on, especially with men as being the head and being a leader. So he has to deal with it post haste, right? So now that we understand that. But Nadab and Abihu died before their father, and they had no sons. So only Eleazar and Ithamar were left to carry on as priests. With the help of Zadok, who was a descendant of Eleazar, and of Ahimelech, who was a descendant of Ithamar, David divided Aaron's descendants into groups according to their various duties. Eleazar's descendants were divided into 16 groups and Ithamar's into 8, for there were more family leaders among the descendants of Eleazar. All tasks were assigned to the various groups by means of sacred lots, so that no preference would be shown, for there were many qualified officials serving Yahuwah in the sanctuary from among the descendants of both Eleazar and Ithamar. Shemaiah, son of Nathaniel, a Levite, acted as secretary and wrote down the names and assignments in the presence of the king, the officials, Zadok the priest, Ahimelech the son of Abiathar, and the family leaders of the priests and Levites. The descendants of Eleazar and Ithamar took turns casting lots. The first lot fell to Jehoiarib. The second lot fell to Jedediah. The third lot fell to Haram. The fourth lot fell to Seorim. The fifth lot fell to Machijah. The sixth lot fell to Mijamim. The seventh lot fell to Hakkoz. The eighth lot fell to Abijah. The ninth lot fell to Jeshua. The 10th lot fell to Shechaniah. The 11th lot fell to Eliashib. The 12th lot fell to Joachim. The 13th lot fell to Huppah. The 14th lot fell to Jeshebeab. The 15th lot fell to Bilgah. The 16th lot fell to Immer. The 16th lot fell to Hezir. The 18th lot fell to Hapiez. The 19th lot fell to Pethahiah. The 20th lot fell to Jehezkel. The 21st lot fell to Jachin. The 22nd lot fell to Gamul. The 23rd lot fell to Deliah. The 24th lot fell to Messiah. Each group carried out its appointed duties in the house of Yahuwah according to the procedures established by their ancestor Aaron in obedience to the commands of Yahuwah, the God of Israel. These were the other family leaders descended from Levi. The descendants of Amram. From the descendants of Amram, the leader was Shebuel. From the descendants of Shebuel, the leader was Jehadiah. From the descendants of Rehabiah, the leader was Ishiah. The descendants of Ishar, the leader was Shelomith. From the descendants of Shelomith, the leader was Jahath. From the descendants of Hebron, Jeriah was the leader. Amariah the second. Jahaziel was third, and Jechamim was fourth. From the descendants of Uzziel, the leader was Micah. From the descendants of Micah, the leader was Shamir, along with Ishiah, the brother of Micah. From the descendants of Ishiah, the leader was Zechariah. From the descendants of Merari, the leaders were Mali and Mushi. From the descendants of Jeziah, the leader was Beno. From the descendants of Merari through Jeziah, the leaders were Beno, Shoham, Zakur, and Ibri. From the descendants of Mali, the leader was Eleazar, though he had no sons. From the descendants of Kish, the leader was Jaramil. From the descendants of Mushi, the leaders were Mali, Eder, and Jeremoth. These were the descendants of Levi in their various families. Like the descendants of Aaron, they were assigned to their duties by means of sacred lots, without regard to age or rank. Lots were drawn in the presence of King David, Zadok, Ahimelech, and the family leaders of the priests and the Levites. Okay, y'all. Last chapter for the day. 1 Chronicles chapter 25. David and the army commanders then appointed men from the families of Asaph, Heman, Jeduthun, to proclaim Yahuwah's messages to the accompaniment of lyres, harps, and cymbals. Here is a list of their names and their work. Bear with me, y'all, while I go through all this list of names again. Okay. From the sons of Asaph, there were Zakur, Joseph, Nethaniah, and Azariah. They worked under the direction of their father Asaph, who proclaimed Yahuwah's messages by the king's orders. From the sons of Jeduthun, there were Gedaliah, Zariah, Jeshiah, Shimei, Hashabiah, and Mattathiah, 6 in all. They worked under the direction of their father Jeduthun, who proclaimed Yahuwah's messages to the accompaniment of the lyre, offering thanks and praise to Yahuwah. From the sons of Heman, there were Bukiah, Mattaniah, Uziel, Shubael, Jeremoth, Hananiah, Eliathah, Gidalti, Romantiezer, Josh Bikasha, Malothi, Hathir, and Mehaziah. All these were the sons of Heman, the king's seer, for Yahuwah had honored him with 14 sons and 3 daughters. All these men were under the direction of their fathers as they made music at the house of Yahuwah. Their responsibilities included the playing of cymbals, harps, and lyres at the house of Yahuwah. Asaph, Jeduthun, and Heman reported directly to the king. They and their families were all trained in making music before Yahuwah, and each of them, 288 in all, was an accomplished. They and their families were all trained in making music before Yahuwah, and each of them, 288 in all, was an accomplished musician. The musicians were appointed to their term of service by means of sacred lots without regard to whether they were young or old, teacher or student. The first lot fell to Joseph of the Asaph clan and 12 of his sons and relatives. The second lot fell to Gedaliah and 12 of his sons and relatives. The third lot fell to Zakur and 12 of his sons and relatives. The fourth lot fell to Zerubbabel and 12 of his sons and relatives. The fifth lot fell to Nethaniah and 12 of his sons and relatives. The sixth lot fell to Bukiah and 12 of his sons and relatives. The seventh lot fell to Azriah and 12 of his sons and relatives. The eighth lot fell to Jeshiah and 12 of his sons and relatives. Sheesh, they all got at least 12 sons? We only made it to half that number. The ninth lot fell to Mattaniah and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 10th lot fell to Shimei and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 11th lot fell to Uziel and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 12th lot fell to Hashabiah and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 13th lot fell to Shubael and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 14th lot fell to Mattaniah and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 15th lot fell to Jeremoth and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 16th lot fell to Hananiah and 12 of his sons and relatives. Let me just say, for the record, don't nobody reproduce like we do. Even if nobody ever read anything but this chapter, they would have to look at all the people groups of the world and be like, oh yeah, ain't nobody reproducing babies like that. Except for us, right? Okay. The 17th lot fell to Bikasha and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 18th lot fell to Hananiah and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 19th lot fell to Malothi and 12 of his sons and relatives. Yeah. The 19th lot fell to Malothi and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 20th lot fell to Eliathah and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 21st lot fell to Hathir and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 22nd lot fell to Gedalti and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 33rd lot fell to Mahazioth and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 24th lot fell to Romantizzer and 12 of his sons and relatives. And that, my beautiful people, is our reading for today. Okay, so that was First Chronicles. We actually first read First Chronicles 29. Then I realized my mistake because it started Second Chronicles and realized, oh, I know how it happened. I was double checking to see how many more days we were going to be in First Chronicles, and I thought I had put it back to the chapter for the day, and I didn't. And I started on the last chapter of First Chronicles instead of, so that was my mistake, y'all. So, but I didn't realize it till I clearly saw that I was off the path when we entered into Second Chronicles, and I was like, wait, we ain't starting that today. So, forgive my mistake, y'all. So let's hop on over here and fix my screen. All right, beautiful people. You got the book. Gonna pull it out. Fossilized Customs, beautiful people. So we left off on page 39. So yesterday we was going through the proper pronunciation and the etymology of Yahuwah's name and how to, properly spell it. The Paleo Hebrew, how it originally looks in the original letters, and then we just looked at the different type of letters and what they call the modern Hebrew is really it's not really Hebrew. All they label it modern Hebrew. It's actually a mixation, if there's such a word, of Yiddish, and it's still all kind of mixed up, but they've added stuff to it in this, But anyway, if you missed that, just go back and listen to yesterday's video. So today we're starting on page 39, and the section is called Ahura Mazda, which means wise Lord. And then under it says, who is the Lord? Lord, right? And for those of you that may be new, this book is uncovering all the deceptions of all the different religions of the world. And a lot of everything comes out of Rome, right? Out of Catholicism. They kind of branch off from there, and then you get your different branches and sects of religion: Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, all of that stuff, right? And it goes through and tell you where it all tracks back to. It tracks back to Nimrod. All of these different religions are in actuality, if you uncover the new names and all the new definitions that they put on the different things that they do, you will realize you are still worshiping Nimrod and Semiramis, and Nimrod reincarnated into his son, whom he impregnated his mama wife, right? Yeah, that's disgusting. And every religion is doing it. They just change it. In Christianity, we know it as the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, right? But we don't think that. We think we're really worshiping Yah, but the deceit of Christianity, and Yahuwah calls it the strong delusion. That's what he was talking about, right? When you reject his truth, that he is Echad, that he is one God, he's only one. He's not a trinity, he's not duality. You by default get the strong delusion, and this right here is helping you. This is not everything, but it's a really good research, and it's uncovering a lot of the strong delusion. So just in case you didn't actually know what this book was about, if you're here for the first time, that's what it's called. You can, if you're interested in getting it, I put the Amazon link where I purchased mine from. It's called Fossilized Customs. The Beast is Unveiled. And it also unveils that we were born into this beast system that has been implemented many, many, many generations ago, like Yahuwah said it would, and Daniel actually spoke about it. That what was spoken about in Daniel, we were born into. We were born into the beast system, and by default, a lot of us grew up with the mark of the beast already. Like, it's not coming. It's been here already. It was here before anybody alive today was born, right? So while religion teaches you that it's something that is coming off in the near future, always, you've already been in. They're keeping your mind busy with looking at things that's coming ahead. Like JC is coming, the mark of the beast is coming. Look at everything. It's, That's how they keep you unfocused and off track and doing nothing with your life, trying to wake other people up and break the state of people who have been taken by this lie, by this strong delusion, right? It's quite a few of us now who have broken out of the matrix, if you want to put it in those terms, right? Blessed be the most holy one of Israel, Yahuwah, for that, right? Okay, so let me start reading. Okay, Ahura Mazda, which means wise Lord, who is the Lord, Lord. You may already be familiar with some of the transliterated forms of Yeshua and Yeshua. They use it, it's like Y apostrophe SHUA and Yeshua, YESHUA. Okay. Footnotes say the cryptogram JESUS means the Lord is our salvation. JESUS is based on Catholic Latin Vulgate's IESV. If your translation has a preface, it may explain that the translators adopted the device of using the capital letters LORD in place of the name of Yahuwah because it has become the tradition. Please look up Baal, Baal, in a good dictionary. You will discover it means Lord, Lord. To please pagans and not use the proper name, the generic term Lord was happily adopted. Pagans always veiled the proper names of their deities, and we know that as Yahuwah's people, he said we are always to speak his name. By not speaking his name, we break the third commandment by default, which is do not take my name in vain. Taking Yahuwah's name in vain is not just misusing it, it's also causing his name to go to ruin by making it disappear so nobody can hear it. When he said we should always hear it, we should always speak it in his only, right? So by not speaking it, we also break the third commandment, right? Say his name, Yahuwah. The Romans worship SOL and the names Deus, Deus, a variant of Zeus, and Domini, Latin for Lord. Pagans hid their deities' names by using titles. The pagan prophet Zarathustra I hope I pronounced this right. I guess it's from the religion or the pagan teaching or Zoroastrianism. Okay. The pagan prophet Zarathustra, and it has in parentheses Zoroastrianism, called the sun Ahura Mazda. Ahura means Lord in Old Persian, and Mazda means wise. So Ahura Mazda means wise Lord. They were referring to Mithras. In the time of Daniel, the ruler of Babylon, Darius, worshipped Ahura Mazda. Ormazd is the contradiction. Ormazd. Ormazd is the contradiction. Pictured above, wielding the power of the sun as a fire weapon, the bird could be a Nazi logo or even the original model for the U.S. presidential seal. Let me show you this just in case you didn't see it or you don't have the book. This is what they're talking about right here. Okay. Now read that again. They use, hold on, let me go back up. Pictured above, wielding the power of the sun as a fire weapon, the bird could be a Nazi logo or even the original model for the U.S. presidential seal. They use the anthropomorphic symbol of an eagle, but they worship their solar deity by means of fire. Fire was sacred to them, associated with the sun. The torch held by the Statue of Liberty and the Olympic Games torch relate directly to this. Libertas was the name for a Roman fertility deity, and the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. is referred to as the Temple of Libertas. Her statue tops the dome. So if you never paid attention to it, pull up some pictures. Pagans used eagles on gold balls to illustrate the sun being carried across the sky. The priests of Ahura Mazda were magicians or magicians or magus. Simon Magus, Acts chapter 8, was a magician prior to becoming a follower of Yahusha. because he offered to buy their abilities, he witnessed the not serene. He witnessed in the not serene. We now have the word simony, Simony. In India, the sun is called Lord Krishna. Hindu deities are shown with blue skin to signify they are ascended and incorporeal, being the color of the blue skies. Y'all been seeing Avatar. Augustine, one of the church fathers, was previously a Manichean. Y'all, I think I screwed this word up. Manichaean, Manichean, a sun worshiper. We've inherited titles like Lord from these Magians, carried through other religions like Manichaeism. I messed that up. If anybody know how to properly pronounce that. Okay. Page 40, y'all. The name above all names. If you study the writings of the Brit Kadashah, Renewed Covenant, or it's talking about the NT, the New Testament. Okay. So let me just say this again. Okay. So we all understand that Yahuwah is, some of the stuff I think I want to skip over, but for the sake of me not skipping stuff, so y'all think something is trying to be hid, I put these disclaimers on it, right? Some stuff is here that we clearly don't believe in anymore, but I get how he's teaching it, like JC is giving teaching lessons and stuff. I get that, but I'm gonna read it, but just, guys, eat the meat, spit out the bones. We know that that Yahuwah is the only one. He is not JC, and JC is not Yah. Okay, but let's pull the meat from the bones here, okay? The name above all names. If you study the writings of the Brit Hadashah, or Renewed Covenant, which is also called the NT, the New Testament, you will notice that the Mashiach is called Rabbi and Rabboni, my teacher, by the people who address him. There is only one rabbi, and we are not to be called this. See Matthew 23:8. His name was given to Yusuf, called Joseph, by the messenger Gabriel, because he would deliver his people from their sins. The Hebrew root for deliver is Yasha. The Greek term is soter, and the Latin is salvare. So why do we see the word Jesus written in our English translations? Jesus isn't a Hebrew name and has no meaning in Hebrew. It isn't a translation either, because it was supposed to mean Yahuwah, I am your deliverer. In Bethlehem and Nazareth, no one has ever heard of anyone named Jesus living there. He came in his Father's name, Yah. We hear the name of the Father when you say, Hallelujah, praise you, Yah. We should be hearing the Father's name and the Mashiach's name also. The teaching authority of Christianity, the church fathers despise the Torah and the Yahudim and the Hebrew roots of the faith. Encyclopedias agree that the Mashiach has the same name as Joshua. At Acts 7:45 and Hebrews 4:8 were both the names of Jesus and Joshua. At Acts 7:45 and Hebrews 4:8 where both the names Jesus and Joshua are written in Greek. The Greek letters are the same for both names, IESOUS. This was a device placed into the text to represent the name. It was an encryption. The scribes who translated the Septuagint were under tight control to suppress the true name. Copyists of the Septuagint began to write the Greek word theos, Theos, where the name Yahuwah had been. They suppressed it with severe prejudice, even to the point of eliminating it entirely. The Hebrew name Joshua is Yeshua. Moshe, or Moses, changed Husha's name to Yahusha. So we remember that, right? Because when we read when we're reading over in the legends of the Jews, it went through all of that. So Joshua, the Moses' successor, his real name was actually Husha or Hosea, right? But Moses or Musha or Moshe actually renamed him and gave him the name Yahusha, right? Or Joshua. Shalom from India. It is seen written in the interlinears in what is called modern Hebrew, which Moshe himself couldn't read. What is called modern Hebrew is really a foreign alphabet, a squared script known as Aramaic. An alphabet can be distinguished from a language. The Hebrew alphabet or script is often called Phoenician, an invented term by Herodotus, the Greek historian. The Aramaic script became adopted during the Babylonian captivity. And I'm going to show you this chart that they have. Remember, it has the Hebrew letters, the name of the letters, the numeric value, the Aramaic letters, and the Latin letters, which we use in English today. Right? So although we speak English, I'm sorry, make sure you can see that. The letters that we use are actually Latin letters. Okay. By avoiding the real name and using devices and generic terms, no one would be offended, but we violated the third commandment. You would not find one instance in the writings where anyone referred to Yahusha as Hashem, the name. And we know, like, Orthodox, if you ever heard Orthodox Jews, the Jewish people, they call Yah Hashem. And Hashem means the name. How do you talk to somebody and call them the name, right? Call me by my name. My name is Pam, right? Y'all get it. The monks couldn't monk. The monks couldn't monk with all the Torah scrolls held by the Yahudim, so they monked with the Greek. For at least 2 centuries, the Nazarene held a copy of the memoir of Matthew, Matthew's real name, penned in the original Hebrew letters. A copy of it was discovered in the Dead Sea Scrolls in 1947. I wonder if that was what the document was that made the Pope faint when he saw it several decades back. As a transliteration of the above Paleo-Hebrew name, people have used Yeshua, Yah. Hold on. They got it spelled differently. It's just it's same. They're saying Yeshua, but they're spelling it differently, and some of the pronunciations are just a little bit different. The people have used Yeshua, Yehoshua, and Yahusha. Some prefer Yahusha and print it as it was originally written. Moshe could read it in the original script, and if you research these letter names, you will easily find it. Just Google these letters. Yod, He, Ua, Shin, An. Right? Okay, let me see it. Right here. The bolded letters. Yod, He, Ua, Shin, An, which would be Yhusa. So remember, in Hebrew, they actually sound out the letters. They don't say the name of the letters like we do in the English language, right? So, and it's a lot of languages I found out because I looked at different languages, right? And they don't like give letters. Their letters are actually the sound. Okay. Daniel could read it too, as well as King David or King David. Remember, no V, right? So David is Dawid. I hear some people say Dawidi, but remember there's no V. The reason I emphasize the original Hebrew script is because the prophets used it originally. It's the inspired script. Remember at Daniel chapter 5, there was a feast for 1,000 nobles in Babylon, and King Belshazzar took out the temple utensils his father had plundered from the Yahudim. Oh, that was a question, I'm sorry. It said, remember at Daniel chapter 5, there was a feast for 1,000 nobles in Babylon, and King Belshazzar took out the temple utensils his father had plundered from the Yahudim. Emerging from thin air near the lampstand, or menorah. Whenever you see lampstand in scripture, it means menorah. Emerging from thin air near the lampstand, menorah, where Belshazzar was sitting, a hand wrote these words in the plaster on the wall: Mina, Mina, Tekel of Parson. I'll show you this right here. Right here. And this is the right under the Latin or English block letters. You will see it in Paleo Hebrew, and under it, it's saying it again. For Parson. Oh, in it. Okay. So when you hear, you got the Paleo Hebrew, but the way it's reading up here under the Paleo, it's backwards, because remember, Hebrew is read from right to left, so it looks backwards, if you wonder why and you didn't catch that. Okay. It was not written in modern Hebrew. The so-called modern Hebrew is really is Aramaic, the alphabet of Babel. During the Babylonian captivity, the Hebrew letters faded from use, and only the older, educated Hebrews would recall the original letter shapes. Yahuwah chose to write in his own handwriting, uncorrupted by human whims and designs. When no one could be found to interpret the writing, Belshazzar's mother called for Daniel, by now an elderly man. He could read it. The words transliterated were many, many tekel of parson, measure, measure, weighed, divided. The night Belshazzar was killed, his kingdom was taken over by Cyrus, or Koresh, the Mede. The kingdom of the head of gold had just passed into the chest and arms of silver. So remember the statue that King Nebuchadnezzar dreamt about, right? All of that. It's talking each division of the different types of material that the statue was made of represented a different kingdom that would last throughout time, right? Which, when Daniel gave the interpretation, that's what Yahuwah said, right? And they went through each kingdom. Okay. That night, Belshazzar was killed, and his kingdom was taken over by Cyrus, Koresh, the Mede. The kingdom of the head of gold, or King Nebuchadnezzar's rule and reign. The kingdom of the head of gold had just passed into the chest and arms of silver. The original script is part of what is being restored in the world today, and with it, the rock of truth and the real name. Peter quoted the prophet Ual, aka Joel, when he said, "And everyone who calls on the name of Yahuwah will be saved." Acts 2:21. The inspired, and it's not called on the name of JC, those who are ignorant of the devices and all the toying with the scriptures, adding and taking away and removing Yahuwah's name, they replace Yahuwah's name with an idol, JC. And now you hear it commonly said, everyone who calls on the name of JC shall be saved. Every time I hear that, I want to spit on the ground. No, the only Savior is Yahuwah, right? And everyone who calls on the name of Yahuwah will be saved. Acts 2:21. The inspired script is our foundation, and I simply stop making excuses that it can be ignored. It will change everything. Acts 4:12 states, "There is no other name under heaven, the skies, given among men by which we must be saved." The name is a hidden treasure. At Yashayahu, or Isaiah 33:6, this is literally stated. The fear or respect of Yahuwah is the key to this treasure. All right, we go on to the next section, altering the name of Yahusha. What does the name Jesús mean? The beginning part in Greek, I-E, is the sound Ye, or Y-E-H, which is a hail, H-A-I-L. It's not Yah, it was altered. Next, let's consider the Sus, S-U-S. It may be significant, so I should tell you that the word we sometimes see in Latin is Yeshu, Yesu. Okay, Yesu, and in parentheses, it has the pronunciation of Yesu, which is Yeh apostrophe Zoo. So instead of saying Yesu or Yeshu, it's Yezu, Yehzoo. Okay. It may be significant, so I should tell you that the word we sometimes see in Latin, Yezu, has been traced to a Hebrew word meaning a curse be upon. In the Latin Vulgate, it appears as IESV. A source that admits some incredible facts is the Dictionary of Christian Lore and Legend by J.C.J. Metford. One source has this to say: it is known that the Greek name endings of Sus, and Sus, and all of those are different spellings, S-U-S, S-E-U-S, and S-O-U-S, which are phonetic pronunciations for Zeus. Okay, so this should have been Zeus, Zeus, and Zeus. Okay. It is known that the Hebrew name endings of Zeus, Zeus, and Zeus, which are phonetic pronunciations for Zeus, were attached by the Greeks to names and geographical areas as a means to give honor to their supreme deity, Zeus. Examples are Parnassus, Parnassus, a sacred mountain in Greece, the Greek deity of wine and son of Zeus, Dionysus. The Greek hero of the Trojan War was Odysseus, and the Greek deity of healing was the spelling be throwing me off, but it's pronounced was Zeus, which is a variant spelling of Zeus, or the Latin Zeus, or then they have Jesus, right? J-E-S-U-S. Okay. They also changed the names of the prophets Eliyahu, which means my mighty one is Yah, and Ai, hold on, I think I'm pronouncing it wrong. Yahusha, whose name means my mighty one saves, to Elias and Elias, which means my mighty one is Zeus. This, when I'm saying this, y'all, it's different spelling. So if you got the book, you will see what I'm talking about. This was done so often that it later was the basis for their rules of written grammar, which followed the common or vernacular spoken language, which we can clearly see today, right? There are a lot of words that sound alike but are spelled differently and that mean different things. It's like word spells all through the English language, right? And you got to be careful of it. There are plenty of other Greek words that end with sus, S-U-S, like the city of Tarsus, meaning sweat of Zeus, and Pegasus. How can we explain the Spanish Jesus? Even the name Joseph was corrupted to Joseph, then Giuseppe, but they didn't tack the name Zeus on it. The Greeks had to hear Zeus in the Mashiach's name. If you stop 50 people walking out of a church service and ask them what the name of the creator of the universe is, you will usually hear them respond with God, the Lord, or J-E-S-U-S. The fact is, the word J-E-S-U-S has no meaning in Hebrew, and the closest Hebrew word to the Greek Zeus is Sus, meaning horse. So Jesus literally means the horse. The adversary, Ha-Satan, or Shaitan, or Satan, has altered much more, as you will later learn in this book. Let's look at our English word, God. It's not a name, and as the writings say, there are many gods. Also, you should know that there is no difference if the letters are capitalized or not, because there are no different sized letters at all in Hebrew. Small letters began with the Greek alphabet, We get our word alphabet from the first two Hebrew letters of Aleph Beth, but use the later Greek letter names Alpha, Beta. Here's a heartbreaking truth. Look at the Encyclopedia Americana, 1945 edition. Look what the Encyclopedia Americana, 1945 edition says under the topic God. God, G-O-D. Common Teutonic word for personal object of religious worship, formerly applicable to superhuman beings of heathen myth. On conversion of Teutonic races to Christianity, term was applied to supreme being. What a tangled web we weave. This shocked me the first time I read it. I could hardly stand it. I felt betrayed and deceived, as you may also feel. Further research revealed that these Teutonic druids, called the sun god or good, is spelled G-U-D, so I'm going to pronounce it like I said. Okay, hold on. Further research revealed that these Teutonic druids, called the sun god, G-U-D, good, G-U-D-H, Goth, G-O-T-H, or Got, G-O-T-T. In some countries, they still call the sun Got, G-O-T-T. Druidic mythology says Woden rides an 8-legged horse, Sleipnir, in Gotland. Look up the word Valhalla, V-A-L-H-A-L-L-A. Notice the term Goth, G-O-T-H, used in Visigoths, Western Goths, and Ostrogoths, Eastern Goths. See the term Ostra, O-S-T-R-A. Ostra refers to the east, where the sun rises, and is a variant of Easter or Ishtar or Astarte. Woden is pictured in some books riding his 8-legged steed in Gotland. Gotland is the equivalent to Mount Olympus, where Zeus lived in their mythology. So we've inherited the custom of calling Yahuwah Got and his son Yahusha Jesus. So we know that Jesus, or J-E-S-U-S, is not Yahuwah's son, right? And I know, Christian, if you're first time Christian from here, that sounds like blasphemy to your ears. But we go back to what the authority said, and Yahuwah said that we are his son. He said, Israel is my firstborn son. It was not referring to one person. It was talking about the entire nation, blood-born sons and daughters who descended from the loins of Jacob, whom he renamed to Israel. That's who he's talking about. How can we prove that? You just keep reading. When Yahuwah said to Pharaoh, he sent Moses and Aaron, he said, tell Pharaoh, let my people go. When Pharaoh was further going on in his rigmarole, like, yeah, no, they ain't going nowhere. Who is Yah, right? No. So we got all the way down to the plague of death, right? And what did the plague of death represent? Yahuwah said this plague of death is going to come, and it's only going to kill the firstborn. It's going to kill the firstborn of everything. Sons and daughters, man and beast, right? And when we read in the Legends of the Jews, it gave a lot more details of what actually happened when all the firstborns died. Like, they even had dogs that went and dug up dead bodies during this plague. But what they found out was that the bodies that the dogs pulled up from their graves, and there had to have been like shallow graves or caves, they only went and pulled out the firstborns to further verify that what Yahuwah said was true. So Yahuwah gave them the plague of death over the firstborns to further signify to them that Yahuwah said, Israel is my firstborn son. Let him go. And because you are killing my firstborn, not one, but all of us, like they're still doing all across the world today. How do we know? Because Yahuwah said that these curses would be upon his people forever. As long as they are disobeying his law, statutes, and commands, the world will clearly see who we are, and they will know us by our curses. So when you see the Negro folk constantly being mowed down, murdered, whether it was on accident, on purpose, or they say it's justified, we know because it's still being done. They're still killing Yahuwah's firstborn sons and daughters. Daughters is encompassed when it says sons, right? So when Yahuwah says sons, he's talking about us both, male and female. My firstborn son, because it wasn't just men that were in Egypt. Hold on, little girl. Why you bring me this? Did you ask Dad for this? No, you didn't, because I hear Dad in the shower. You better go put it back. Nope, don't try it. Go. You ain't gonna have me endanger my head to the king. Go. Put it back, because you're trying to be slick. See, look. We ain't playing that game. Because I know your daddy didn't tell you could get that. See that? They trying to be slick. They be trying to pull a slick one over me. Y'all gonna have me endanger my head to the king. I know what your daddy said. Nope, I'm saying the same thing he says. Don't come try and sweet talk me because I'm mama. No. We learned that way too early. We're not doing that. What did daddy say? Right? Go put it back. Don't you pop it. Because as soon as you pop it, I'm turning you in, sis. We're trying to teach my daughters, right? But my sons be trying it too. I'm like, what your daddy tell you? Don't try it. Don't try it, you know. All of y'all got kids, especially if daddy didn't already say it, that's final rule. Don't come ask me nothing. It'll be different if you came and asked me first. Now, if you ask me first, then there may be a little leeway, because if I tell you no, Dad might turn around and tell you yeah. Okay, then, okay. Dad said yeah, right? Okay, so we ain't do that. But if Dad said no right off the top, don't come to me. My authority's already been washed away. When he get a command, that's it. That's his final authority. That's it. Don't come to me. Like what you? I heard your daddy say, nope, you are wrong. Straighten up. When it comes from Dad, that's final command. If it comes from me, you got a little bit of wiggle room if you don't like my answer. But even with that, if you don't like my answer, my husband, babe, did you say something to them already? Sometimes he'll just get an answer, but if he know they trying to be slick, he like, babe, what you tell him? And sometimes, oh, mama said no, then it's no, you know. Not that it always happens that way, because it absolutely doesn't, you know, because I'll say, yeah, he's like, nope, because you weren't here to see this when I talked to them about that. I was like, oh, my bad, I'm sorry, babe, you know, so we're just trying to keep it all in order over here. The kids, they'll try you, so mamas, be careful. I know all the mamas know, just trying to keep it in line here. Don't have me endanger my head to the king. We ain't doing it. We ain't doing it. Okay. I'll go back up here. So we've inherited the custom of calling Yahuwah God and his son Yahusha, Jesus. The rabbi's name is Ravish, and we call the father by a pagan name originally used for the proper name of their son deity. And just for fun, they have started calling him Lord, which means Baal in Hebrew. So when y'all refer to Yahuwah as Lord, I know coming out of different religions, you got to catch yourself and you have to train yourself to do it appropriately. But yeah, when you catch yourself, fix it. Oh, Father, forgive me. You know, I even still catch myself sometimes. You know, not a lot now because we've been training ourselves and blessed be the most holy, like our younger kids, they only know Yah. They weren't inundated with all these extra terms of adoration that we tend to put on Yah, which are not terms of adoration at all, right? Okay, so how far does the rabbit hole go? Everyone who calls upon the name of Gott, G-O-T-T, or Baal will not be saved. You have to prove all things. Yahusha revealed his father's name to his Talmudim disciples. A disciple is a student of discipline. John was originally Yuchanan or Yahunan. Yah is kind. Corrupted to Jonathan, then to Johan, and finally just John. At John 17:6, Yahusha says, I have revealed, uncovered your name to those whom you gave me out of the world. After Abel was killed by Cain, and Seth was born to Adam and Kua, Genesis 4:26 says, at that time men began to call on the name of Yahuwah. Now, read Isaiah 43:10 through 13. One Sabbath, Yahusha healed a man, see John chapter 5, and the ruling Yahudim sought to kill him for breaking the Sabbath and calling Yahuwah his father. At 5:43, he says, I have come in my Father's name, not only in his Father's authority, but literally in his name, Yah. As he was entering, just so people not getting confused. So here's the way I look at it. When they want to talk to me about the NT, I let them know. Listen, I let them know where I stand. Right? Greetings, Poppy. What is your religion called? We don't have a religion. We just simply follow the instructions of Yahuwah. We're not attached to any religion. Well, I know I'm not. I know a lot of people here personally, I know they're not. We don't label ourselves as any group. We read the scriptures, the words of Yah, and we keep to it as best as he told us to, that we know how. And if we got it wrong, when he correct us or show us that we wrong, we fix it immediately. So I hope that answers your question, Poppy. Not only what I was saying was, when I talk to people about this, and we'll be done in a second after we finish reading this portion. When they talk about this, because I can go into a lot of deeper things about the New Testament and how it was toyed with and what's leavened and what's not, but it depends on who I'm talking to, right? And so some of the things, it might be too much and they may not be able to handle it all at the moment. So when I talk to them, like, okay, so this is what Yeshua, if you call him Yeshua, Yahusha, this is what he was teaching. He was teaching you to turn back to the Father. And if you want to call him his son in that aspect, if he was keeping to his commands, then okay, he would be his son. But Yahuwah said, firstborn son is Israel, us descendants, right? But also anybody from any other nation, when they decide to turn to Yahuwah, and they want to walk in Torah, and they want to put all the other gods of the world away, and they only want to worship the Creator, then Yahuwah adopts them into the family, right? And we're not to treat them any differently. You know, we should treat them just like they were blood-born. And Yahuwah said that there is one rule for the blood-born and for the foreigner or the sojourner among you. If they want to come into the family, they need to follow the same rules and regulations that I set out for my household. If you can't follow daddy's rules, then you got to go. Don't bring your garbage over here infecting my family, because I'm going to take issue with you and I'm going to deal with you immediately. And if any of my family want to follow you and your rogue teachings, I'm going to deal with them too, right? In my house, one rule for all, right? And all are treated fairly and justly under the king's rule, right? Okay. Not only in his Father's authority, but literally in his name, Yah. As he was entering Jerusalem, hold on. He said, as it was entering Jerusalem, 12:13. Oh, I think it's still talking about Acts, but it just has 12:13 after Jerusalem. As he was entering Jerusalem, 12:13, he was greeted by throngs of followers shouting, Hosanna. The Hebrew word for deliver us found at Psalms 118:25. They also cried out the Hebrew words from Psalm 118:26, Baruch haba Bashem Yahuwah, meaning blessed is he who comes in the name of Yahuwah. Blessed is he who comes in the name of Yahuwah. Not that you are Yahuwah himself, but you come in his name, like I come in the name of Yahuwah, right? I serve him. He is my father. I am his daughter, right? I come in his name. No other name do I come in. And I'm not promoting myself as a God, but I'm simply repeating to you the instructions of our Father. You know, if you call yourself by his name, then this is what your life should look like, right? If it don't look quite like that just yet, keep living, keep doing what's right. Daily adjust your ways, right? Some people have bigger struggles than others. Some people have more to deal with based on their background whatever coming to Yah, and everybody has to deal with that on a personal level, while Yahuwah helps you and brings a support system of like-minded believers in his ways of living around you to help strengthen you, right? Okay. They also cried out the Hebrew words from Psalm 118:26, Baruch haba Bashem Yahuwah, meaning blessed is he who comes in the name of Yahuwah. This vocalization of the name of Yahuwah caused some of the Pharisees in the crowd to yell out, Rabbi, rebuke your Talmudim. Luke 19:39. Yahusha was spreading the name of the Father all around, revealing the true name of the Father to all the world. And somehow this is all chopped and screwed when they teach it now, and everybody is trying to worship JC, right? And you shouldn't be worshiping him. If you actually listen to what he said, a lot of the times from what we read, he was always pointing everybody back to Yah, right? Okay. Not some of the stuff where it's being twisted off, and y'all get it. Ha-Shaitan had stolen it away, and it was being restored, or it's referring to Yahuwah's name. Satan is still reigning the world religiously to deceive, and has once again destroyed the use of the true name. Ha-Satan is the original sound of the Hebrew words for the adversary. When Yahusha told Kepha, or Peter, get behind me, Shaitan, he was simply calling Kepha his adversary in accomplishing his mission. Kepha wasn't possessed. Natsarim are now reappearing on the earth to proclaim the name of Yahuwah just before see, like I said, it's still some leaven here. Pull out the meat from the bones, right? Here's what this says. Natsarim are now reappearing on the earth to proclaim the name of Yahuwah just before Rabbi Yahusha returns with the message, the kingdom of Yahuwah. Repent, for the kingdom of Yahuwah draws near. We are the ones, his son, who are resurfacing, returning, being born in these generations with the truth and letting the world know. We, his son, are letting the world know that the reign of Yahuwah is near. It draws nigh. It's here, people. We, his son, whom Yahuwah has given the keys to his kingdom. The firstborn son what? The firstborn son normally inherits the rule of the king's kingdom, right? So we, as being the firstborn son, he gave us the keys. He gave us the keys, right? And we, as the rulers, right? Those who set in place, the kings the physical kings who rule on the earth, as he's setting up thrones all where we're scattered to and all over the world. We are to rule righteously under his authority, under his instructions. This is how you run my house. And all the earth, all the world belongs to you. All of this is his domain, right? His sons and daughters, or let's just say sons for the sake of scripture, his sons he set in places to rule and reign and to bring the proper instruction to all the other nations. Why? That he may beget more sons and daughters unto himself. That's why we're called the firstborn, right? The firstborn. There can't be a firstborn if there's nobody else. Then it would be the only begotten. But we know that's not true. Yahuwah said the firstborn. Why? Because we are to teach the other nations that they may come up under his instruction, his canopy of love, and live in his kingdom, right? And just feel the goodness of this good king, right? All right. Repent, for the kingdom of Yahuwah draws near. Matthew 4:17. Uh-oh, here come the king. She tell you she was going in the refrigerator to get your stuff. She tried to sneak down here, bring your stuff down here, about to open the mouth, you pop it. I say, nope, you did in the shower, and I know you ain't asked him. Yes, I did. No, you didn't.
Try to get soda from me.
I told you I was gonna tell him. You ain't had me in danger my head to the king. Now she's trying to be sweet and explain her baby. Okay. Mark 1:15 records these very words of Mashiach's as the Basora message. Now we call it the gospel. The king of Yahuwah draws near. Repent and believe the good news. That Basora or good news report message is what we teach the nations to obey. The Great Commission to teach Torah. Matthew 28:19 through 20. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, immersing them. Hold on. I'm gonna read it, y'all. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, immersing, because it's still mixing like it's three. We just are to immerse. I'm gonna read it, but we read it all the time in the Old Testament. Yahuwah say, use my name only, put only my name on my people. But for the sake of the book, y'all. But I'm bringing out the 11 so you can see. Therefore, this is what's found in Matthew 28:19 through 20. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, immersing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Ruach HaKodesh, which is they call the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to guard everything that I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age. Now, it should be go to teach the nations in the name of Yahuwah the Father alone. Only put my name on my people. We do it daily in the blessing. Yahuwah said, this is how you are to bless my people. You put my name upon them, nobody else's. When you put only my name, I myself will come and bless them. As Nazarene Israelites, we are each commanded to act on this, guarding the name and word of Yahuwah. Yahusha was speaking to Nazarene, people who guarded his name and his Torah. The people who guarded Yahuwah's name and his Torah. And see, I don't understand why he's not catching how he's still mixing this a little bit, but we correct it and we'll read it appropriately. If they were Torah breakers, they would be criminals in his eyes. He was speaking to Torah observant Israelites, his privately taught students. They were not Christians or lawless in any way. Any Gentile that engrafts into Israel also observes the same Torah and covenant as any other Israelites, as the followers of
When I get back, all right? I'll go back around when I get back.
Right back.
I'll go back around when I get back. All right, I love you.
Let me read this last sentence again. You didn't even do anything?
No, I'll call you.
All right.
Call me if you like.
Okay. Any Gentile that engrafts into Israel also observes the same Torah covenant as any other Israelite. The true followers of Yahusha have inscribed it upon their hearts by a circumcision performed on them by Yahusha. They are former Gentiles. The outward sign of this is their immersion in water. We got like a few more sentences and we'll be done with this section. Be done for the day, y'all. When the true Basora or message gospel is proclaimed anywhere in the world, an important sign of authenticity will accompany it. The woman who came to Yahusha with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume will be also told, the woman who came to Yahusha with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume will also be told in memory of her. See Matthew 26:7 through 13. This must be one of those real messages because I just made mention of her. The man Shaul, later to be called Paul, was sent out at first by the Sanhedrin to arrest the early Nazarene for openly using the name, citing how Stephen was stoned as Shaul held the outer cloaks of the killers. He admitted this at Acts 22:19 through 20. At Acts 4, Kepha and Yahunan, or Peter and John, had been arrested by the Sanhedrin. The elders of Israel were in a stronghold, or thought prison, the tradition of not allowing the name to be spoken. They conferred among themselves, saying, but to stop this thing, the name, from spreading any further among the people, we must warn these men to speak no longer to anyone in this name. Acts 4:17. The name Yahusha contains the name of Yahuwah. Acts 4:7 begins their examination. Kepha and Yochanan, or Peter and John, were brought before the elders and asked, by what power or what name did you do this? Power refers to teaching authority, and it was not one recognized by them. They said this to entrap them into speaking the name aloud as they had Stephen. Kepha or Peter said it was by the name of Yahusha HaMashiach of Nazareth that a man had been healed of being crippled at beyond the age of 40. When they were released, they returned to the other Nazarene, addressing Yahuwah by name at verse 24, after which the earth shook. His name is authority over disease, demons, and is a strong tower of refuge. Right? Okay, so up here when he says, by what power or what name did you do this? Before he said this, he went back and told you how the name of Yah is in the name of Yahusha, right? So he carried the name, just like the prophets carried the name. You have to look at it in a proper fashion when you read it. Otherwise, you get all chopped and screwed, like the church teaching you, like he was God himself. No, it was the same power that the prophets carried. Even think about Elijah. It's the same type of power, right? But somewhere they get your mind warped, and they mind screw you so bad that it's hard to see. Even when we're trying to break you out of it, you have to read through it a couple times to actually see what's there in front of your face, because they've laid this multi-layer of filth and gloss over it where you can't see it clearly, right? And so he acted just like the prophets acted. And no, we never hear anybody calling any of the prophets like Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Amos, Joel, Michael, Malachi, Habakkuk. We don't hear anybody referring to them as gods, although we know that Yahuwah's name, they carry Yahuwah's name in their name, just like Yeshua carried the name of Yah in his name, right? But it didn't make him God. He just carried the power of the name, right? And so that's what he's trying to explain here. They said, by what power were these miracles done? By the name. Hold on, it says right here. Let's see. I'll just read it again. The elders of Israel were in a stronghold, a thought prison, the tradition of not allowing the name to be spoken. They conferred among themselves, saying, but to stop this thing, the name, from spreading any further among the people, we must warn these men to speak no longer to anyone in this name. That's found in Acts 4:17. And here it is right here. The name Yahusha contains the name of Yahuwah, right? Just like the prophets we hear about, their name contains the name of Yah in their name. It doesn't make them God. They carry his authority upon them when they walk and when they teach, right? They use that authority. That name that's upon me, that power that is upon me, I come in that power. I come in my Father's name, Yah, Yahuwah, right? His name is in their name. His people are named after him, right? That's why you see a lot of our people. A lot of people are like, why y'all changing your name? They're literally just, and a lot of them don't realize it, but a lot of them do. They're actually lining up to what Yahuwah said. My people are called by my name, right? Right? And if you call by his name, you need to straighten yourself up too and do what he said, and those who represent him, right? You don't go out here representing us like you crazy out here in the streets, because when people see you, you are a direct reflection of me, right? I don't dare walk out of my house acting crazy, right? That's gonna bring a bad name on my husband. You won't catch me doing it, right? And if I catch women doing it, I'm gonna quickly distance myself for fear that I might be labeled by mistake like one of them. Don't you dare dirty my name. I spent a lot of time trying to keep my name good and cleaning it up, right? I ain't bringing reproach on my house, and neither am I bringing reproach on my Father's name, Yahuwah, right? That's the power we walk in, right? Okay, so that's what is explaining here. But like I said, in church doctrine, in the Christian church, that's chopped and screwed. It's like, oh, we come in his name. This is the man right here. He's God reincarnated. No, he carries the power of his God on him, right? He comes in that authority, right? He walks in that. So that's the best way I can explain that at this moment, y'all. So hopefully, because I know some people, they's like, well, I'm still kind of confused. That's why you have to constantly wash your mind with the words of Yahuwah, right? That's why we've been doing it for the last 3 years. I've been doing it before we actually did it live, but you have to constantly read the words of Yah, right? It's incumbent upon kings to know the words of Yah. The kings that Yahuwah set in place, he said, each of you are to get a copy of my law, what I have directly given to the Levites, and you take their copy that they got directly from me, and you get you a pen and you get you a book and you take it. And I don't want you just to read it. Like today, they give you any kind of version of the Bible you want, you go buy your copy. Yahuwah said, I require kings to write my words, right? He said, you write your own copy of my law. And he said, and this is the one that you are to keep on your person 24/7, and you are to meditate in it daily, right? Because what happens when you, it takes on a whole, when you write something, it takes on a whole nother level of, what's the word? Responsibility. It's another word, like, you not take charge. It's like you can claim it, or you can better identify with it, but that's not the word I'm looking for. But it becomes yours. You make it your own, because you can hear something but you can quickly forget, right? And you can read something, and a lot of times you got to read again. Wonder where I just read 3 pages. Oh, I can't tell you what I just read, right? But actually writing it, it brings another level of focus. And first of all, making sure that you're writing and you're comprehending and you have everything in its proper order, right? It brings another level of, I guess, awareness to you, that you're not just hearing, and it's not just going in one ear and out the other. Yahuwah wants you to meditate in it day and night, that you may make your way prosperous before you always, and you can lead your household righteously. Yes, comprehension, right? So as the kings write their personal copy of Yahuwah's instructions and his laws, and once they're done with it, like as you go through and you read, they're going to retain a lot just from writing it with their hands, right? Yes, cementing it in their heart. Thank you, Dana. Yeah, all of those things, it literally, he begins to inscribe it on their hearts, right? And it becomes a part of them. And after you finish writing it, now you have something personal in your own handwriting. Like, yeah, and yes, everything you say, yes, we will do. I have written it in my own handwriting, further verifying that I'm keeping your commands, I'm doing what you say, and my own handwriting tells me, it's reminding me, I wrote these words. This is my agreement, or my signature, that I am going to do. Yes, all Moses said, this is Yahuwah's laws. You accept them? They say, yes, we accept them, we will do, and we will obey, right? So the king should have that with them at all times, reading through the words of Yah, letting it wash through them and clean them up, so that they can lead pure and holy lives before Yahuwah. And Yahuwah can empower his sons, the leaders of families that he put in this earth, and that they can lead their entire family in righteousness, right? And they can reproduce more sons and daughters of righteousness, right? He required that the kings do it. So if you have multiple sons, I mean, I don't know, you just take it and just use good common sense. I think it's a good practice for everybody, men and women. Like, I think our women, and although Yahuwah didn't command the women, but I think a lot of women, y'all just need to sit down somewhere and just read the words of your Father and clean yourself up. Let him clean you up, like spiritually, mentally, physically, because a lot of times we look like a freak show out here, right? All of us looking crazy because we don't know the words of our Creator, right? We're trying to line ourselves up to everybody else's image except for the image of Yahuwah himself, right? And by spending time in his words alone, it'll teach us, it'll grow us up really fast. It really will, but not too fast. But it's compared to everybody else, it's like, wait a minute, a year ago, what has happened to you in a year? And you could have been in a Christian church for 20 years, and you know way more after spending 1 year in Yahuwah's law, statutes, and commands than you would ever get being in that pagan penis worshiping place. I'm telling you. And it's like, wait, hold on. What are you doing? Show me what you've done. Because I seen you a year ago and you sound like a great sage, right? And you just really still just getting the basics. But that's what Yahuwah's wisdom will do for you. It'll make you look like you got all this wisdom, and it's like we really just following basic principles. Remember the story? I think it was don't have me mixing stories up, but remember, I forget which woman it was. It wasn't Sarah, although Sarah was beautiful, but there was another woman. If y'all know the name of who I'm talking about, they were, was it? I forget the one, but anyway, to make a long story short, because we will over our time today, they were saying they saw not just the beauty of this woman, but they saw the wisdom of this woman. Bella, stop. It wasn't like she was giving all this extra stuff. She was really just keeping Yahuwah's laws. And the men, they said they knew her to be a chaste woman, a woman who was submitted to the words of Yah. And so they asked her, and so she said, well, Yahuwah's law says this. And so they said, well, shoot, we need, Bella, stop. Thank you. They wanted to, and I'm gonna have to find it, y'all. I know what I want to say. Let me find this story. Remember who woman, but they said we need to rein them in. Because if women are like this, they're gonna be able to rule this world, right? They said the wisdom of this woman, like when they saw her, they picture in their mind that where this woman came from, all their women was this way. They said, what nation has women like this, right? And that's why Yahuwah wants his sons and his daughters to wash themselves in his word constantly, right? Because there's not just a power and a wisdom that comes to us that we can clearly see and we can experience in our lives, but all the other nations will see. What nation has women such as wise as this, and as beautiful as this, and as chaste as this? Like, wait, we need to join ourselves with them, or we need to take them captive to make sure they don't become our enemies. I gotta find that story. It's right there, but if anybody know that, put it in here for me. But I gotta go find it, and I'll let y'all know tomorrow who it was I'm talking about, because I know what I want to say. It's right there on the tip of my tongue, but I'm gonna have to find it, and I'll share it tomorrow. But anyway, y'all, that is our reading for today. We read 1 Chronicles 23, 24, 25, and we actually read 29 as well. And then we hopped over here on Fossilized Customs, and we read pages 39 to page 444. All right, so we'll pick up here tomorrow. And I'm sorry, I know a few people had to go clock in. Please do, y'all. If we run over today, please get out of here and go to work, right? Render unto Caesar what is due unto Caesar if you work for Caesar. But if you work for yourself and you can adjust your own schedule, then do what you need to do. But remember, this is always recorded. You come back here and watch this later. I know Trina had to go. All right, y'all. So with that being said, let's go ahead and do the blessing. I hope y'all enjoyed the reading for today, as I did. It is Friday, May the 7th, 2021, day 147 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 816. Remember, that is without the Sabbath days or the feast day Sabbath days added into the count. Why? Because we rest, because Yahuwah has commanded us to, right? And anytime we can adjust our lives as we learn to keep Yahuwah's law, statutes, and commands, we do it immediately, right? Immediately. Okay, and the blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. Remember, the first 21 verses is the Nazarite vow. Man or woman, Yahuwah said, can take that vow, right? Don't take it lightly, but I think everybody should consider it at least once in their life, setting themselves apart for something special, to be a Nazarite just solely unto him, right? Okay. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, on this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, may Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people. So let me just double check really quick. Questions. Okay, I'm on Facebook. Oh, okay, Poppy. Okay, so for the sake of time, Yahuwah, Y-A-H, Y-A-H-U-A-A-H, Yahuwah, it's the creator of heaven and earth, the God Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob served. That's who we're talking about when we say Yahuwah. That's his name. And we know his name because in scripture he said, that is my name forever, and it's found in Exodus. What I do, if you come back, after the live is over, give me a few minutes. I'll paste some scriptures down there for you, and I'll kind of put it out so you can see exactly where. But that's what Yahuwah said. He said in a couple of places, he said, my name is Yahuwah. If anybody asks, who is this God that you worship? What is his name? Yahuwah said, my name is Yahuwah. And another place in Hosea, I believe it's Hosea 11:1, but don't quote me, but I know it's in Hosea. He said, my name is Yahuwah forever. So I'll put that in there for you. And you're not asking too many questions. Ask away, right? I answer what I can, and if I can't do it on live because we're running over time, I'll put it in the comment section and I'll pin it. All right, beautiful people, or I will address it the next day if so. All right, y'all. Thanks for joining us today, Poppy. All right. Did you take it from the Hebrew text? Yes. You can see it in the Hebrew text. You can pull it from there. It's been translated, transliterated, but if you do the proper etymology, yes, you will see it says that in the original Paleo Hebrew language. All right, beautiful people. With that being said, you're welcome, Poppy. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow, bright and early. It's Saturday, so 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, on the weekends, we'll do 7:30. During the week, we'll do 7:15. But if it's the Sabbath, we resting, right? And we know for this moon cycle, as we're lining back up with the proper times, it falls on Monday. But this Sabbath, this coming Sabbath, will be the last Sabbath of this moon cycle. And we are watching for the new moon again for this next coming month. And we kind of pre-calculated that we are going to see her on Wednesday evening, right? But we learned about that a couple months ago. We need to watch electronics and everything where we can kind of do data and look ahead and kind of predict is good. But you would say watch, be faithful to watch monthly, because that screwed us up a couple months ago by using our predictions, and I saw that got a lot of people off, and everybody was like, what, nobody's seeing it? I was looking all across, so I'm like, what, the calculations is wrong, people, right? And you would say, I told you to be out there watching, right? And the electronics is fine, but don't completely start 100% relying on them, because what if there's a glitch? What the electronics put out is what humans have put in, and it is still subject to human error, right? So I use it, but I'm still faithful to watch. I learned my lesson about that a couple months ago. I'm like, Father, forgive me. I'm sorry, right? All right, y'all. I love y'all. Gotta get out of here. Peace.